Hello, hello, hello. We just let Greg off talking about anxiety.
I
Welcome
ranch.
to this is Smudgeon of Curmudgeon, and we are Bill Adams and Mr. Dewey Conway. And with us today is a fellow secret scribe, Mr. GJ. Is it Terral or Terrell? Terral?
Terrible.
Terral. That's what I've been calling you, so I'm glad that's
It's like
accurate.
terrible.
Yeah, terrible. But I do have a question, Greg. Before we get
Okay.
into it, your name is
Sure.
Greg,
Yeah,
but you also go by Jack.
I do.
Why do you go by two different names?
Yeah, that's actually pretty easy. So, for the longest time, I did not know this. I found out like maybe 5 years ago. My first name is technically Gregory Jack. That Jack is not a middle name. I was under the
Oh,
impression it was for most of my life, because my grandmother, she raised me, and so she just called me Jack all the time. It's because I was named after my grandfather, the first part of my name, Gregory, and she didn't want to she didn't want to call me Greg because of that, because their relationship was tenuous, right? So yeah, so that's where it came from. So through high school and a bit of college and stuff. Everyone called me Jack, and then I started my current job that I've been with now almost 8 years, and they're like, Greg. I'm like, that's fine with me. I really don't care. It's just a name. They went on, the warehouse manager went on this phase of calling me Gary for a long time, and that one actually did kind of get under my skin, because I'm like, well, that's not even close to my name. So
Gary,
that's it. Either or is completely fine.
but not Gary. We're not going to.
But I mean, if you
Where did that
insist
come
on
from?
calling me Gary, huh?
Where did that come from? I mean, why? That doesn't even make sense.
He's from New Jersey. He likes to push buttons. I think that's just
Oh, okay.
yeah. That's it. Gary. It was not SpongeBob. I don't think.
Oh yeah.
well, it's interesting. Very interesting, Mr. Terrell. So give us who is watching us live or who might eventually watch this, we hope. Give us a little bit about you and why we're talking to you.
I think you're talking to me because you had nothing better to do on a Wednesday night. I can get that out of the way pretty quick. Or it's because I recently released. Yeah, and he was just like, "What is this?"
Wait a minute.
Recently released Bloodwoven that came out in there it was. It came out in May, and book 2 recently got the title announced, Bloodbound, and that arcs are going live for that. A little bit about me. I wasn't in counting. I was in accounting for the last like 4 years, and then they're like, "Hey, do you want to do sales?" So now I do solar sales with the same company. It was sort of a lateral promotion in a sense, and that was the beginning of this year, and it was a little stressful, but we've gotten through it over the rough patches, I think, of training the replacement and all that. Other than that, I gave up pickleball to be here. I play pickleball every Wednesday night. Bill is convinced it's an old man sport, and I'm like, well, in the Houston area, it's a very diverse, very eclectic mix of players. Okay, so a lot of them are younger than I am. So, and that's a little bit about me. Nothing too crazy, but
that's good. So we like to start this show off with a little bit of a scale. So Dewey,
okay.
can you go ahead and bring that up for us?
Yeah, let me grab
I
it.
did, Alex.
Hold on. Let me see. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, allowing my screen. It reset all my computer was reset. All the permissions.
Excuses,
here we go. Do
excuses.
y'all see the curmudgeon scale here? Perfect. Okay, so we have a scale for those that may not have seen this before. This is what the show's all about. And I just want to say that we start at the least extreme, which is I'm not grumpy, I'm just conserving energy, to midway, which is I'm allergic to stupidity and I have a case of hives today, and then 10, which is where I spend most of my time, which is I don't hold grudges, I just remember facts forever. So wanted to see where you rate yourself Since you are our guest, you are an honorarily go first. Where would you rate yourself, Greg? Would you?
That's pretty rough. I promised Bill that I was gonna bring 100% curmudgeon, but as I'm seeing where these values really lie, I think my chaotic. I think I'm at 0. I'm not very. When I get irritated, I'm usually done with somebody, But as far as
Oh,
my overall attitude and kind of outlook, I think I'm. If there was a negative scale, I think I'm usually a little more positive.
wow. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to put you there, and I'm going to go to Bill next. Bill, where are you
I'm
today?
actually mediocre today, so I'd probably say between a 5 and a 6.
Okay.
Just a little
All right.
overtired, but that's about it. Not really too bad.
All right. Well, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, be on the
Just had
7 to
one.
0.
I've had one of those days, and I'm done. So, I'll try to keep it tame, but
Fair.
I'm living in the 10 zone right now, but it's coming down. I'm talking to people I like, so it's starting to come down a little bit. But right now, I'm maybe about a 10, 9.
He was very grumpy at around 11 or 12 today when
I
I
was
was
there.
texting
I was
him,
there when I talked
and I
about
was
it.
like, "You
So,
need to save this, bottle it up for later, because
Bottle it up.
no,
we
I
need that
can't.
curmudgeon."
Need
Uh,
to extend the scale for those extra
It goes to 11.
moments. Yeah, those extra
that
points.
I love your perspective on, you said if people irritate me, I'm done. You finish and you
Yeah.
stay positive. Well, when people irritate me, I am done with them, but I'm also like done in general.
Yeah.
So,
No, it makes sense. Yeah.
all right.
We've
So,
All
we've
well,
right.
got a
thank you.
few guys.
Thank you for
Yeah.
participating. Uh,
No, thanks for
there,
letting me.
I'm glad.
I,
I'm glad we have a honorary curmudgeon on that's not really curmudgeon-y. So,
what'd you say
welcome.
about me, Dewey?
Yeah, see, there you go.
There we go. Okay, now you're up. No, we're good.
Now I'm at a 1. Yeah.
Now
How
you're
dare you?
at a 1. Oh,
You will feel my fury.
Okay, so the other thing that we like to do with this show is we have some wacky questions that we like to get some
oh.
conversation going. So, Dewey, if you would be so kind to bring up
All right.
the wheel.
Give me just a second here, and I will bring up the wheel. Uh, wait, hold on. There we go.
Bill, did you supply these questions?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, these are Bill questions. So,
Yes, they are.
he was
And
kind
I
enough
promise there are no Terminator
to do it.
questions. I already told Tim Wolf that there is
There.
no Terminator
Hey,
questions.
whatever. I'm tired of the Terminator hate. I thought those were fun questions. All right,
They
let's
are,
go.
but I like to
Here we
switch
go.
them up.
Yeah, let's see. Window. What am I doing? Entire screen. There we go. All right. So let's kind of explain how this works. So we have a little spinner. We have 8 questions for you. We have a little spinner with an extra, and this little extra piece here is actually a braid.
Okay. I thought
Because
so.
Bloodwoven, because and that's you. And so if it lands on the braid, that means that you get to choose a question to ask us. Which whatever. Thank you, Tim. So I'm gonna go ahead and spin it, and let's see where it lands. Oh, we got a 4. Okay, so we're gonna go to 4. See what that is. Okay, this is a Bill question.
Yeah. So,
So how
so
many
you have
untethered
read
would it
Tana. So
take?
for people that don't know, Pegs is a character in mine and Dewey's middle grade book. That is Dave Lawson's favorite character. It's a sword wielding peg leg rooster that also belches fireballs. And
Well,
both Dave
yes.
and Mr. Tim Wolf think that pegs can kill about everything. But in Greg's world, he has some almost zombie-like monsters called untethered. So, how many would it take to finally take pegs down?
So, and this might sound like a little bit of a cop out. I think Pegs would be potentially too mobile, he would be able to, if he's not worried about fighting them per se, if he's just running, he'd probably be able to get away. Now, that's being said, let's say he's cornered, dire circumstances, things aren't looking too good. I think, if we're talking about some of the spoilers here for this, some of the untethered that are sort of showcased in book 3, I think Pegs might be done for with just 2 or 3 of them.
Ooh.
So,
yes.
Wow. Yeah, it's absurd to even discuss it.
Interesting.
So, the run-of-the-mill untethered, whole army of them probably would take, but
well, so untethered, then explain that again. So what are the untethered?
Sure. So
can you tell us?
It's really it's a blanket term, in world, like colloquially an in-world blanket term, and so it means like different things. The average one, at least what our main character believes is the average untethered, is sort of like a mindless I Am Legend styled zombie. Not really zombie-ish, but
movie kind, just, not the book kind.
Yeah, the movie kind. And just very aggressive, magic wielding. They've lost the cognitive ability to speak. And some of that is like touched on in book 2, like why that sort of happens. But there's different levels to it, just like with anything, with any disease or any power. I think there's a scale to it. So,
okay, so I'm guessing really need to back up a little bit. Tell us about your book, like because I have not read it. Bill has read it,
Fair.
And he say he loves it, but I haven't. So I would love to hear just what is it? What's it about?
I believe it or not, I still struggle with this. But at its base, without all the like themes and things like that are like pun intended woven into it, it's really about like one man's journey at the base level. It's a journey. I didn't realize I wrote a travelogue, sort of, but a lot of reviewers pointed out the fact that like travel is a big aspect of it because the character is specifically trying to get from point A to point B. So Lynn is a soldier. He works for basically the power that rules this nation. So he works for the military, essentially. And their whole job is just to make sure that the untethered are kept in check. And then he's very quickly, like within the first chapter, he's on a mission to escort 2 other soldiers. Things go haywire from there. And he sort of grapples with like the term untethered, what it means to be a monster, things on that level. So it's not quite an elevator pitch, but
no. So to help you understand a little bit more, Dewey, what it is there's a belief system that untethered are bad, and there's a second part of their magic that is considered outlawed, and the main character, Lynn, kind of crosses a boundary unwillingly into that outlawed magic. So that's where Greg's saying, it's a physical and a emotional, spiritual journey, because he's kind of has to reconcile some things.
So just on first look, and it sounds fascinating. I love these kinds of stories where you have someone on a journey and they're combating their impulses and whatever. But on the cover we have, I love his expression. This is Lynn on the cover.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Played by Fabio.
And I love his expression, and he's holding a baby. This almost makes me think of a different kind of story. So what's the significance of the cover image? Like,
sure. So this scene just really stuck with me because I felt like it sort of encapsulated a lot of what Bloodwoven ends up being, right? So it's not how the journey necessarily begins, but it's absolutely how his journey ends. And so it's just the scene that like that's what I wanted for the cover. And so my wife, funnily enough, she was like, she saw the cover for the first time and she was like, that's not what Lynn's described as, because she was like in the first half of the book. Because like the lines on his arms, the glowing, those aren't tattoos, those are magic, sort of like stitched into his flesh, right? And that's what's against the ruling powers laws. Like that's crossing a boundary that shouldn't be crossed. And so this whole scene is actually spoilers. It's towards the end of the book, but it's very, very sort of important to Lynn's journey, because a big part of it in the early part of the book is him wanting a family, wondering if he would ever get a chance to settle down from his life of a soldier, stuff like that. So
Very cool.
And then everything goes haywire.
The baby is the MacGuffin.
The baby is sort of a MacGuffin, but not in a like super magical way. At least not in book 1.
And it was kind of funny because I was beta reading his book 2, and the baby is like 6 to 8 months at that point.
Yeah.
And the baby's just sitting there, and I'm like, no, Greg, that's not how babies work. Like you have to give them a little bit more emotion. You have to give her a little bit more of this. And he's like, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
like,
I was like, I haven't had a kid yet. It's in the works, but Bill sent me some reference images. Is the best way to put it. So
yeah,
I was like, dang, I gotta juice this baby up.
Oh my gosh, yes, babies don't stop moving. Yeah,
no, apparently not.
No,
yeah.
Now they just yell at you in a high-pitched scream when you don't say what they want you to say.
So
3 years old, not my favorite age.
it's an awesome cover. I'm glad you explained it. And one thing else I did notice was it's one word. Bloodwoven is one word. So I only bring that up because I was curious, like, what made you choose to make it one word? Like, is it?
Yeah. So when I come up with titles, I sort of, and I hope this doesn't sound pretentious, I want them to do like multiple things if possible. So like efficiency in word usage, just out the door pretentious. So I from the outset, I was like, okay, well, the magic system might not seem like it's based on like a person's blood, but that it is, right? And like and that's talked about more in book 2, and it goes into like detail without being like info dumpy. But because Lynn at the outset, he doesn't know really why they're able to do what they do, and it all gets clarified more in book 2, because book 1, it's Lynn's very personal, very tight journey, so he doesn't see any of that because it's a single POV. Anyways, so their magic is called binding. That's like the title of the magic, binding. And then they do different things with it. But because of that, the real name of the magic is weaving. And so it's bloodwoven for that reason. And the second aspect is because in the book, there's a sort of magic that called a bloodweave. And that is like an in-world term for sort of like an oath made, a magical oath that like you have to uphold, like you don't really have an option about it and stuff. So it's doing like a few different things with the title, and it sounds like pretty cool. So that was a big one too. I was like, I think it just sounds cool.
Yeah, for sure. I really like it. I think it's a great title. It captures you right away. And with that said, it is time for another question. So I'm going to share my screen.
Bring up the wheel.
And bring up the wheel of
I just ramble.
Something. Okay, here we go.
Wheel of questions.
Number 2. Okay, so we got number 2.
Here's the Terminator question.
No, he had me remove them. There we go.
Ooh.
Favorite playable Final Fantasy character and your least favorite.
It is a little tough. I'm worried there might be a little recency bias. I really enjoyed Final Fantasy 16 playing as Clive. I thought he had like a pretty interesting journey. That being said, Cloud from 7 always has a place in my heart. Terra from 6. I think Terra, right? Yeah, I think that one. It's Terra from 6.
Yeah.
Is that?
It's
Yeah.
almost your name, just without the L.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah. True. Least favorite. I actually, dirty confession, Vans from 12. I never fully finished 12.
You've never finished 12?
No, I have watched plenty of videos discussing the plot and stuff, but I never finished 12 or the I think there was like a sequel. Was it not a sequel? Was it a
No, 13 had a sequel.
I want to
10
say
had a sequel.
12 had, was it
12?
expanded content?
Yeah, so 12 had a European version.
Okay.
Where it had the different character board. Because remember how 12 was like that open game board?
Yes.
They had a different type of that, and they had some extra goodies and stuff.
Okay. That might be what I'm thinking of. I'm gonna say least favorite. No, yeah, that's really hard because I was gonna say like, is it Bart's The Warrior of Light? And then, but I really dug the simplicity of that. Least favorite, I'm just gonna say an answer because at this point I'm stumbling. Let's go.
Come on, you can do it.
I guess Squall. I think
What?
I think 8
What?
is like a really good story, right? And my best friend loves 8. He's gonna kill me for saying my least favorite one is him, but I just didn't have the connection to 8 like a lot of people did. So
Well, you are a little bit younger, so it is
just a wee bit. But his favorite is 100% Final Fantasy 8. Everyone's, and this is where the chat turns against me. Squall
Exactly.
of all people.
Like I my favorite Final Fantasy game is 9 because that was the first one I played,
That's
but
the
also
day.
like the one I played the most. But then 8, I just love 8. It's just such a great story. I love the 2 timelines with Laguna, and really the card game is one of my favorite.
Triple Triad. Excuse me. Sorry, Triple Triad.
Yeah, one of my favorite sub games. That and Blitzball from 10. I love Blitzball.
I played a lot of Blitzball. Yeah, Titus was up there for one of the. So actually, you know what? Least favorite, Yuna. 10-2, I could have lived without. I think I really like 10.
10-2 was such a weird game.
Yeah.
Like, the style of game with like the changing the outfits.
It sort of pioneered what 13 eventually did. I feel like in a sense because Lightning had like the whole job system swap and all that. But yeah.
Dewey, what was your favorite Final Fantasy game?
Okay, well, Final Fantasy game? My favorite Final Fantasy game. Well, yeah, thank you, because I don't remember the characters. Well, this gonna age me. Final Fantasy 3 on Super Nintendo was one of my favorites. I loved it. Which was, I think, Final Fantasy 2 from Japan or something. I don't know. I remember there was some kind of thing going on. But yeah, I'm way back there. And then I liked Final Fantasy Tactics.
Tactics was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. And but that was with PlayStation, I think, when that first came out. And so yeah, those are mine.
I think I also had Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo. And that I think that one is Final Fantasy 6 technically.
Yeah, it's the
numbering system was like weird.
The numbering system.
Advent Children was a fantastic film.
Yeah, it was. The director's cut even better.
I watched a lot of Advent Children. We got to take it to our I don't even remember what grade it was. It was pretty young, but our art teacher was like, "Hey, let's see some animated films." And we're like, my best friend who's like in love with Final Fantasy VIII, he got that on DVD, Advent Children. So we took it to class and like made everyone watch it, and not everybody was into it. You know, they were thinking like, oh, you know, like Finding Nemo and stuff. And we're like, no, you're gonna watch this like really cool show.
Oh God, I remember I saw it I didn't see it in theater, but I mean, I wish I would have saw it in theater. I haven't seen a whole lot of animated movies, like anime movies in theater, but I did see the Cowboy Bebop movie in theater, and that was so much fun.
That sounds like it would be pretty good.
Yeah, I love that movie, and it was a great movie to see in theater.
As a kid, I think the only anime movie I went and saw in theaters was like Digimon the movie, the very first one that came out, and that was it blew my mind. I was like, oh man, this is so cool. But the most recent one I think was it might have been the Kingsglaive movie, the Final Fantasy 15 Kingsglaive.
That was a good movie too.
It was really good. I think one of the voice actors I didn't like too much. There was like a weird dub for like one of the guys, but other than that, it was fantastic. Tim's trying to get back in the good graces.
Yeah, he's trying to get back in the graces, but we'll just leave that conversation to the side and not pick that up anymore, Tim. We'll forget that ever happened.
Tim, you're innocent with me. It's fine. Let them hold their prejudice. I still welcome you here. And I will say, oh, okay. Well, Digimon. I love Digimon. I know this is really lame, but one of my favorite characters is Agumon, and I loved his big.
That's not lame at all. You kidding? No, he was. I think that first, the first Digimon arc was. I mean, I don't remember who I was talking with it about, but we were talking about it recently because it was like pretty dark for
it is
like back then, and it was but it was very, very well done, very good. A lot of like emotional beats that like some shows geared towards kids that age probably won't try nowadays. It was just very solid.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Like the brother died pretty early on, and like a few other things.
But, he came back as a ghost, I remember, or something. I don't know.
Right, yeah, something like that. But the very first time when one of them digivolved, are you kidding? I think it was the wolf was like the first one. Or that's just the one that like stood out to me. It was peak. It was so good.
Well, so I want to ask a question before
you go ahead. Go ahead, Bill.
Because I was just thinking about your book. You have chapter titles, but they repeat in a series of 4.
Mm-hmm.
You have. I can't even remember. I wish I brought the book, but
I could tell you. It's I don't remember the exact order, but it's Hope, Blood, Hate, and Bone.
Yeah, and then you have a different adjective around it to describe it. What made you do that? Because when I was reading it, I don't usually read chapter titles, or if I do, I just kind of skim past it. But then after a while, I was like, oh, this title looks the exact same that I just saw a bit ago. And then I finally realized that you had that revolving title
pattern.
Yeah.
Honestly, so I said, with the title at least, that with Bloodwoven, I was like, I want words to do like multiple things, but with those, I started with the concept of like those 4 ideas: hate, hope, blood, and bone. And then from there, I was just like, I'm just going to rotate these because I didn't have anything else going on with like title ideas. And then I was like, well, if I could just do like these sections of 4, and if they can even correlate a little bit, like the adjective that's like going in front of it, like I'll be happy with that. And for the most part, if there's a connection to any of it, it's very subtle, and it might not even it might be a stretch to make that word like fit with what's going on in that chapter. But I tried. And then so Bloodwoven, I think I want to say that its chapters have, it's like bees. It's probably the pointless. Oh, no, see, so like boundless blood, right? And then with Bloodless, it's C's. Because I decided to start with B's on this, so I was like, I'll just go to C's on the next one. And then, Bloodbound has C's. Bloodless is the third book, and it has D's. So hey, to all the viewers, the third title got leaked.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert.
I was working on it, so it's fresh on my mind. But
you heard it here first. Smash like, subscribe.
Big reveal. My thousands of fans.
Yeah, right. We gave it to all our fans out there. Our few friends that come and watch these shows.
That's how it all starts. So I told you privately, I really like the format of y'all's show, just in general across the board. I really do like it. So I think it's only a matter of time before it, potentially gets bigger. Call CMZ. Yeah, thanks.
There you go, Shane. We got.
Where did the A's go?
Perez Hilton's going to be calling you up.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm in shambles. It'll never be the same again. So.
Well, I do have one more question, and before we get to our other big question board, the spinner wheel. My question is, as an indie author, you've joined being a part of this big community. What led to you writing this book and going the independent route and all that? I just want to hear a little bit of your history.
Absolutely. So what led to me writing this book was the fact that I wrote like a bigger book. Like I have like a bigger book, multi POV. It's done, but I need to like clean it up and make it to like the caliber of like my writing in Bloodwoven. And the reason why I wrote Bloodwoven was because initially I was going to go down the traditional route, and I wanted a book that was more marketable as a potential standalone if it needed to be, but also something that would get picked up by an agent easier, because a 200,000 volume doorstopper, a 200,000 word book was likely not going to get picked up no matter how polished it was, because a lot of agents auto reject anything over 100,000 for new fantasy authors. And so Unfortunately, because I love Bloodwoven. Like, I love it. I think that other book, Of Stars Below, that's my baby. I worked really hard on that one. A lot of really interesting things going on that. And it's just more, Bloodwoven is definitely, it's fantasy. Like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of magic, different monsters. Of Stars Below is like even more fantastical in like some of the things that it tries to do, right? With like some of the arcs and all that stuff. So Bloodwoven was brought about by my desire to write a book that would be more sellable initially, gain readers' trusts, right? Like, so if somebody picks up this, they'll see, oh, he knows how to plot a story and he does characters really well and da-da-da-da-da. And so it was really me getting my feet wet, essentially. And I've been told by numerous people it's a really fantastic debut, which means a lot.
Definitely.
So, thank you. So that's where Bloodwoven came from, and that was the driving force. I got a full request on it when I was querying for traditional, but that ended up going nowhere, and I was tired of waiting. I talked to my wife about it and stuff, and I was like, you know what, I could query for the next 2 years and not hear anything. And some of the feedback
for 2 years.
Yeah. And a lot of the feedback I got was that Bloodwoven wasn't original enough. It wasn't breaking enough like boundaries compared to like the current market and stuff. Those were like rejections from the blurb, and the blurb doesn't tell you everything. It only tells you, a very small snapshot. But those were some of I think I only got like 2 or 3 personalized rejections, and those were the ones that were, and who knows if they were even actually personalized. It was just like, this isn't, unique enough in the current space. And it's like, oh, great. Okay, well.
I find that very interesting, because that's like the exact opposite of how that trad space works. They want what sells. They just want to continue selling that trend. So That doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
The whole machine is, I think it's flawed, but I also say that knowing that I have no ways to like fix it, no suggestions on how to make it better, you know?
Yeah. Well,
But
I think
you're going
four
independent.
big four is not going to fix it. That's the thing.
Yeah. I did
That's
go
our-
independent. Yeah.
I was going to say, you know, going independent though is fixing it, in my opinion, only
Sure.
because you've actually done it. You know, you've gotten to the point that so many people just dream about, and the one thing that's stopping them is the agent stopgap that
Right.
they're not being picked up by, you know, these rando agents. And so you took the matter into your own hands and did one of the bravest things I think that can be done, which is I'm going to make this happen myself.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah.
And that's just incredible. Do you feel like it's been a success for you? I mean, having that good debut reaction is fantastic. Like, are you feeling successful? Like this is yay.
Yes, and
Awesome.
no, right? Because there's always that sense of, and we've talked about it, you know, privately
Yeah, I was gonna
in
say,
the
our
chat.
Discord chat is pretty intense. with a
We're just
lot of
very,
it.
we're very open. It's just a sense of like, you know, there's so many books out that getting yours noticed is really the biggest struggle. And then, so there's multiple steps to it. You know, you write this book, you have people say it's a good book, and then there's no sales to accompany that. And it's like, well, you know, you need to market more. You need to put it out. You need to put yourself out. You need to do all these different things. And even when you're doing those and you're not seeing anything get picked up, then it's like, oh, you know, I'm doing something wrong. And so it's really easy to put that failure on yourself. But I really don't think in the case of like, if you know that you got the best cover you could possibly get, right? You wrote a good blurb that accurately describes your story. Your writing has been, you know, critiqued, edited. You've done the cleanest manuscript you possibly could at the time that you decided to publish. If you've done everything you can, it's really out of your hands on whether or not it gets picked up, you know, on whether it gets successful. I've had like a bit of success in the indie fantasy addicts community where, you know, one reader picked it up, fell in love with it. They, you know, made a post, another reader picked it up, liked it, they made a post, you know, and so word of mouth is organic and it is really real. The only thing is it takes time. I mean, so do I feel successful? Absolutely. Do I think I could be more successful? Absolutely. But you shouldn't measure yourself against other people's numbers and success because everyone's journey and everyone's, you know, actualization is completely different. So
yeah, and it's also every story is different.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody's readers' tastes are different. So it's like, you know, we have in the indie community, we have a lot of Dragon Rider books out there, and people
we do
eat those up.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Dragon Riders, even though I love dragons. You know, it's just not my jam. So I'm not going to go probably read those bigger name books for a little bit because I'd rather pick up something more my style. So like you said, it's the word of mouth has been really important. And now that I follow that Facebook group, I have been seeing yours, you know, pop up every now and then. So it's just like, yeah, winning for the scribes over there.
Yeah, it's a really cool feeling because you know, when I published in May, you know, I made sure to reach out. Well, I thought I made sure to reach out to a lot of reviewers. I didn't. I sort of only reached out to people in the SFFI Discord and stuff like that, which is completely fine. And they were super instrumental in giving me like what I would consider a pretty successful launch. A lot of the reviews I got from them were positive, but I didn't cast a wide net, and I didn't realize I didn't cast a wide net.
Don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. And so seeing, so the reviewer, her name's Stacy, the one that I feel like probably kicked it off a little bit in the Facebook chat. She just was a random comment on, I don't remember whose unboxing video it was. It was, one of the SFI Insiders team did an unboxing video, posted it to Instagram. She commented, "Wow, that's awesome. I'd love to get a box like that." And I was like, I saw the comment and I was like, "I'd love to send you a box like that. That'd be awesome." And then the growth, from there has just been organic, because the thing is, if you have a good book and you get it in front of people and it's their taste, because that's also important, like you were saying, then I think organic growth is bound to happen. So
Yep.
It's just a matter of patience and time, and again, doing everything you can to make sure that you're being successful, whatever success means to you. So,
and if you get that one super fan that'll just keep shouting it out to the world, like that's the good thing to have right
Got to
there.
find somebody to bang the
Dewey,
drum.
hit the wheel.
Yeah, because I could talk about it forever. So hit that freaking wheel.
Hit that wheel, Dewey.
All right. It's coming up. Okay. There we go. Well, let's click and go.
No whammies?
Oh.
No, that looks like a whammy.
All right, number 6. So let's see what's number 6.
I think I can explain this pretty well. It's an easy, so the skill level, super low bar of entry, super low bar. You can get kids out there playing it. You can get geriatric, aged individuals out there sort of playing it. So the bar of entry for pickleball is super low, but much like checkers, okay, you can get really good at it. Okay, so I play probably twice a week, 3 hours a day for those 2 times that I play.
Please.
Yeah, well, it's the only reason I'm not like 30 pounds heavier, because I snack. I have a huge sweet tooth. So, but honestly, succinctly, that's why people, especially middle-aged white dudes, love pickleball.
Okay, hold on. Everyone's talking about pickleball and all that, and honestly, the first time I really heard about it was when Chandler died. What's his name?
Matthew Perry.
Yeah, Matthew Perry. I was like, he was playing pickleball? And what is pickleball? Is that like a pickle? What are you doing? And so explain, what is pickleball?
Sure.
I know it's like tennis or
yes.
something like
so where tennis has rackets, pickleball has like solid paddles. The ball that they use is sort of modified wiffle ball, so it's like the same composite material as like a wiffle ball, but I want to say it's got more holes so that you can get more spin on it. And then the courts are similar to tennis courts but smaller. The lines are drawn differently, and the rules are just a little bit different too. But it's very similar to tennis. And so people who have played tennis and come over to pickleball are usually very good at it, just because they're used to those fundamentals and the base strokes and stuff like that. But growing up, I always loved ping pong, and I never had like a real place to play it. And then I was like, oh man, I could get into tennis. That'd be really cool. Never had anyone to play with. And then my wife told me about pickleball, and I told her that sounds like a made up sport. It doesn't exist. And she's like, it's very real. And I was like, no, I don't believe you. Months later, my buddy's like, hey, because around here in the Houston area, tons of pickleball, like bar and food places. And so he was like, hey, let's go play pickleball and get some drinks. And I'm like, oh, that's a real thing? And I've been hooked ever since. And my wife has been unhappy with me because I called her a liar and then got addicted to the sport. So
oh boy.
Pickleball based Magic System.
Pickleball is not my thing. Do we hit another question?
Oh, okay.
He's looking at the timer like, oh, we got.
Well, I want to make sure we get to all of these, because
I'm sure there's. I'm not surprised if there's one in here that's like, why is Denny better than Teal?
Oh, is that how you say her name? Teal?
I don't know.
I was saying Tyel.
Tyel. I can see it. Teal. Teal. If you could live in any fictional world, which would it be? Oh, I don't know. I know it's like kind of rough over there, but I really like the idea of Tilly Italy. I think I did have a sentence in there that like pronounces it. But,
Which world?
I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Oh.
I like Roshar, the Stormlight Archives. I really like the idea of
The storms.
you know, like bonding to his friend and stuff like that. The storms suck. Like that's
I was gonna
not
say,
super
you
great.
deal with the
But
storm?
but that would be kind of cool. You know, maybe like
Hey, what
speaking
color
some
eyes do
words
you have,
of
though?
blue. Yeah, I'm a
Okay,
light
you'd be
eyes.
fine. You'd be fine.
Yeah, I'm good, dude. I'm set. Are you
You'd
kidding?
be
I
fine.
even have some natural highlights sometimes, so you know, I'll blend in with the whatever that race is. I don't remember.
It's been a while since I read Stormlight.
Yeah,
So.
I need to before Wind and Truth comes out or whatever. I need to at least recap on the last one. Get out of here, light eyes.
God.
Okay, hey, this might be a Schmudgeon of Curmudgeon, but we don't accept that. Okay, that's a little rude.
Yeah, Alex
Derogatory.
is carrying over from last night. I gotta say,
Yeah.
Dewey, I watched their stream last night, and I was texting you. I
Yeah.
was cracking up at how much they were roasting each other. Like
It was a big roast.
it was good. And then the best part was Bo came in the chat, and he came with violence in mind, and he
He
was
was
just,
dropping nukes.
yeah, he was just bashing the heck out of Dave, and it was fantastic. I was dying.
Oh my goodness, you guys, you kids.
Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, Rhythm of War. I need to go back and probably read it before Words of Radiance, but I really enjoyed that one. There was a few like really good scenes in that. Where did you say this happened? Oh,
It was a
the Secret Scribe's YouTube channel. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently
Text
they were
edition.
yeah, Bill was texting me like, "Oh, this is funny."
It was spicy. It was very
Well,
spicy.
Dave likes to act all innocent, but he goes for my throat. I don't know what I did to him. He was like, tell me why I'm your favorite scribe over Bill. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I really kind of like Bill. He's got like a full sleeve of Studio Ghibli. That's pretty sick. Like, I don't think Dave liked my answer.
Yeah, Dave didn't like your answer at all.
No, he was
was
like,
not
come on,
pleased.
man.
I mean, well, when you ask a question like that, you're kind of opening yourself up, you know?
Well, no, that
Right.
was Alex. Alex was the one that dropped that bomb.
True, and then he didn't really have any follow-up himself.
Yeah, his answer was kind of lame as it was.
He was a coward.
I mean,
Dave,
just be honest.
You, Alex.
Right? It was pretty funny though, and Dave made a good point. You know, the three of us and Alex as well, like we roast each other pretty hard in the chat, in our Secret Scribes chat. It's all in good fun, all in love. You know, there's no malice behind it, but we can be pretty brutal. It's kind of funny.
Oh, the truth comes out. They've made him ask it. Look at that.
Oh. Why am I not surprised by that? So that's.
I'm not surprised either. He probably texted him privately and was like, "Hey, make sure you ask Greg."
Yeah, so it didn't look like it was a personal thing on him.
Yeah.
Well,
no, it was a really good time. Yeah, I'm running the gauntlet this week apparently.
This week, yeah, you're gonna have to go.
Yeah, what interview is this for you? I know you've had that one, and then was there another one also? Or
I was late to the pre-stream. That's funny. No, those are the only two. But I've done a few. I've been with Mike Molman on Balding.
okay.
Great show.
Like two times with them for different reasons, and then Creature Creation with him, and then Willow Wraith. I did a D&D stream with Mike and Bill and Dave. He would have been mad if I forgot to say his name. I've spent a weird amount of time watching Chris. I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, you have, huh?
Poor Tim.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I didn't go to this last Authors and Adventurers D&D. I wasn't able to make it. That was the one with Greg Wonderland.
Yeah, Gregory Wonderland.
Gregory Wonderland.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do a part 2 eventually.
DM. Yeah.
I think it's probably gonna happen in October, the second part of it.
Sounds like it.
That one was a lot of fun for somebody that has never played D&D before the first episode of Authors and Adventures. that was a lot of fun with Gregory because the visual and like he's a professional DMer, dungeon master. So there was no moment of downtime. There was no bit of lore that wasn't there, like available for him to just like say stuff. So for me, that was great because
he was fantastic. I've done plenty of D&D sessions. I've DM'd myself, been a player on plenty, and yeah, you could tell he's a professional. He absolutely knows what he's doing, and anytime like me or Dave would crack a joke or do something, and he just rolls with it, which is absolutely what you should do as a good DM.
Dave turned into a sexual harasser. His character,
he was oddly sexually harassing. Yeah, he's like, no, it's my character
specifically.
Yeah, I think he told you he was gonna mess with you before the show, so that's all it was. But yeah, that was a great time. So I definitely encourage anyone watching this to look that up because it was an absolute blast.
It was fun. So important question. Hold on, I need a important question.
Okay.
And he already knows what I'm going to ask him.
I don't. I'm not sure.
You know what I'm going to ask you.
I might.
Why this might be a spoiler to some readers. Lynn and Tyel.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn has an unrequited love for this lady.
Mm-hmm. Why
does he love her so much? And why is he not going to get with Denny in book 3?
Oh, okay. Well, I can't answer the book 3 one. You have to read and find out.
Rafo.
Yeah, Rafo, which, good news is I'm looking for a beta reader for book 3 pretty soon. So,
I'll read it.
Yeah, I got you. As far as Tile, I had sort of jokingly mentioned it. I think part of it is like his lack of ability to save the sister a little bit. Trauma bonding a little bit. He views her as his savior, even though, outwardly he's like, hey, you've ruined my life. You did this thing to me that I didn't give you permission to do this. You did it. I didn't ask you to save me. Like, no matter what, she saved him. And on top of that, calmly is breaking down his rationale. And so me knowing what I know, I'm like, oh man, Lynn is a sub, question answered. So yeah, he sort of falls for this woman who is at a point where he is so unconfident in himself. She is so brazenly confident in who she is and what her mission is and what she's doing. And, I think that's just a very human thing, especially someone who is just absolutely having their world shattered and stitched back together, So
pun intended.
Absolutely. Every time.
Okay, Dewey, I'm sorry I keep interrupting you. Please go ahead with your question.
Are you sure?
No, I can come up with something else.
I'm just joking. No, I want to ask you, Bill, with your question, what would you prefer?
Oh, everybody knows that I'm all team Denny.
Okay.
So Denny in the book is a untethered character, or almost untethered, basically.
Okay.
But she's this awesome magic person, and she's just kind of funny. I find her really funny for some reason, but she's really not that funny, but she's funny. Like, those people that are just funny because they're just the way they are, not ha-ha funny, but just funny like a clown, like, Joe Pesci is type thing in Goodfellas. But, so I don't know. I just like Denny, and I want them to get together.
Okay.
Yeah, so Denny is introduced towards the second half of book 1 as like an ancillary character, if I'm pronouncing that word right, and
a celery character. It's a celery character.
Ancillary. A
celery quest.
Oh, sure, like a celery. Okay.
Yeah, like the joke we made in Tana.
Okay. Completely fair. But then she just has a more prominent role in book 2. And then Bill's just gonna have to read book 3 to see what's going on with that.
He did while he was working, like all the notes that I gave him, he said he was putting something in book 2 just for me, and he did, and he shared it in our chat. So I was kind of happy about that.
And then Dave was like, "This is Greg's attempt to write Spice," and I'm like, it's not even Spice. I never said it was Spice. Like whatever.
Well, okay. I know we need to ask some more of our questions over here. I have one though that I do want to ask you, and it's based on what you said before, which was
okay.
Putting yourself out there and is one of the things you need to do.
Dewey, you froze. Can you start the question over again?
Yeah, you froze at the very beginning of the question.
I did.
But you're back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
you're back.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't freeze for me. Sorry. Okay. Yay. So my question is, you had mentioned putting yourself out there is one of the things you got to do as an indie author, and making sure that people get to know you. And what are some things besides like social media and stuff? Are you going to like any cons? Are you doing any things like that where you're going and setting up, tables and selling your books and like what?
So I've only I only went to like one real one. So I did like one festival, which was more like a farmer's market that my friend up in Huntsville was putting on, and that was a success. And that was just with my short story collection, because this was like 2 years ago when this first released. And
cool.
Which I absolutely love the cover of this. Like I love Bloodwoven's cover, but she the same artist absolutely killed it.
Cool cover.
And so sold some books there, and that sort of gave me the confidence to know that like if I went to something, I can sell books. I had my first real indie author sort of book event in April. I was sick as crap. I was not feeling good, and I did not have Bloodwoven out yet. So all I could sell was my short story collection, and I sold like 6 copies at like this in-person event. And it's not bad, especially for a short story collection. Yeah. They do not sell very well. Yeah. Trust me. I've got one slated for October 14th, an in-person event. And that's supposed to be like the biggest one in Texas. It's just called the Indie Book Festival. And it's down in Katy. And that's going to be like my first real one with like a whole booth setup, because I didn't really have all of a booth set up in April, because I didn't, when I got there and I saw all these like, some of them were like mine, more modest and not really well put together. But some of them were
fancy cardboard cutouts, and
some of them were so well put together that I just immediately, instead of feeling bad about my station, I'm just like, notes for the future event is what you really
a wood carver now. Dave dabbles in wood carving.
True.
So
he does do woodwork.
Yeah.
So I got
does bookbinding, so have him do something for you.
Everyone does something cool, and I just play pickleball.
Not me. It's not me.
Yeah, but you got the kids.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, what's the artist's name?
I butcher her name because she is a fantastic Italian artist. I know it's Cristiana Leone, and she's on Twitter, and she's on Fiverr, and she accepts commissions. And I would argue that she's underpriced for the quality that she puts out currently.
I showed her to Dewey a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's some fantastic art. And
she's done some special editions for like Italian copies. But here, just for anyone curious, it failed to post. Did I freeze? No,
it didn't go through.
That's weird. I wonder if it's because
it could be
chat not accept outside links. That might be why. Okay. Well, she's I've definitely shared some of her stuff before on Twitter, but absolutely fantastic. And criminally undercharging for, like I said, the work that she's putting out currently. But I expect that to change in the near future. I feel really fortunate to have found her for the short story collection because her style was just right up my alley. So
just type her name in the chat.
I think,
And we can Google it. Dewey, bring up the wheel while he's typing it in.
Yes. Give me a wheel.
All righty.
The wheel on the tapestry.
All righty. Let's see what we got. Okay. Oh, we got
I can't see
number
it.
1.
Is it bad? Was it the rope? 1. Okay.
No, number 1.
Number 1. Here we go.
Here we go. This is the good question.
Ooh.
If the Secret Scribes were in a slasher film, who would be killed first? Who would be the killer? And who would be the final girl? You can't name yourself.
Okay, I think this is pretty easy. Okay, who would be killed first? I'm leaning. I think I said it would be easy, but I was being fake about it. I don't know. I think Lorraine would be killed first. Unfortunately,
she's just too sweet.
She's too sweet, a little too innocent. And I think she could hold her own, but the sweetness would get her killed first. The killer.
Yeah.
I think we all know it would be Dave. Okay, I'm sorry. He's got crazy eyes. He's got crazy eyes. He's just waiting. He's waiting for the opportunity. The only thing separating us, air and opportunity. And who would be the final girl? It's obviously Lamia. I think she would. I think she'd survive.
She would be the one to take everybody out. Thomas would come out and just destroy everybody.
Oh my God. Is Dave even here anymore?
Maybe.
I wouldn't blame you, Dave.
If he left?
Oh, Greg.
Killer Bill. Yeah, all right, Dave.
Greg with the mic drop.
Just a follow-up from last night.
Yep. Oh, God, that's good. Good job, Greg. Good job. Dewey, hit us with another one.
Okay. All right. Let's see what we got.
North.
All right. Number 3. Let's go back over here. Number 3, Moneybags.
Ooh, is it? So it's kind of hard. Where I live, there is a P. Terry's opening up 3 minutes from my house. Like, it's very close. It's right by an HEB. It's fantastic location wise. Last time I had P. Terry's, I'm not sure if I enjoyed it. It was like a drive-through experience. Don't get this wrong. So right now, since I haven't had it in at least 5 or 6 years, I'm going to say Whataburger. Since I haven't had P. Terry's in 5 or 6 years. But my answer might change in the next few months once this P. Terry's finishes opening up. We'll see. I know that In-N-Out can kick rocks.
Yeah, we have a In-N-Out came up here in the Woodlands. They have an In-N-Out at the mall, and we just were like, eh.
It's not good.
In-N-Out does not deserve any hype that it gets. It's not that interesting. That secret menu bullcrap that they have is not interesting anymore.
Right.
No, I am fully P. Terry's, Team P. Terry's. I miss Whataburger. I love Whataburger. But P. Terry's, like, if we're just going burger, I miss P. Terry's. Like, I just love P. Terry's.
I'm really looking forward to trying it.
The fries, though, it's not even close. Whataburger French fries are just like well past.
I'm a sucker for spicy ketchup. It just it rings the bell for me. Let me redirect you back to the Studio Ghibli arm sleeve. I think it's very sick. Come on, how can you not like that, dude? Come on.
All right.
The long
See it.
answer is I don't like him more than you, Dave. I like both of you equally. You're both my favorite children.
Okay. So now
So is this
it's
I
your
ask a
turn.
question?
You pick one of
Yeah.
the two remaining ones.
Ooh.
Yeah. Pick one of these,
I'm gonna give
7
you
or 8.
guys the dragon.
Okay,
The
who's
7.
answering?
Oh,
We can both answer.
We can? Well,
Yeah.
let's try. Okay. Okay, well, we can't answer this one. We can't answer this one.
Can't answer that one.
We can't answer.
no. So I'll answer it for you, and then you guys will answer 8. But you'll love Alex the most because Texas. Fair. I didn't try to steal him. For anyone who maybe didn't catch the stream last night, the monkey bit me twice. The capuchin in my photo bit me twice. Luckily, he did not break skin or anything, but he just sort of came up to me and yeah. And I was like, "Hey, ow!" And then when I was like, "Hey, get out of here," the handlers were like, "Hey, don't scare the monkey, man! Like, calm down, calm down." And I was like, "Well, tell him not to bite me." And then I put my arm back where it was, which I wasn't near a pen or anything. This was just a wild, open, like safari type thing. And I put my arm back down, and he just comes back over, puts his little hands on my arm. And I'm like, "You're about to try and bite." And I was like, I bit the monkey back. That's why I'm feral.
That's why he's no longer allowed back in that sanctuary.
That's
Well,
exactly
where?
reason.
Okay, yeah, and that's the other question is where was the monkey?
Yeah, that was
Like, where did you find the monkey?
It was, I don't remember the island, but it was on a cruise down to like Mexico. And so it was, yeah, I did the 2022 writing excuses like cruise event, which was just a thing where you could like meet Brandon Sanderson and Mary Robinette Kowal and like a few other like big names
Cool.
and get writing advice. So I did that in 2022 and it was really interesting. And it was a lot of like basic advice. So stuff that I sort of already had like an understanding of, but it was good to get it was like a week long retreat essentially. So I got a lot of writing done then. But
And the picture you have is not with Brandon Anderson or the other authors.
no,
It's with the monkey.
yeah, it was a great shot with the monkey.
It's a really good picture.
I don't think I even ended up talking to Brandon Sanderson. There were a few opportunities, but every time he was really crowded. Like
He was starting
tons of people.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, he was super super crowded the whole time, and I was like, there's nothing I could ask him that is worth like dealing with all of that. Even to tell him, hey man, I like your books. He hears that so many times it doesn't make a difference for me.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, I can look at him from afar, and he was sick the whole time. Like he was sick on the cruise ship, which wasn't great.
Ugh.
And I was like, I'm good.
I love your books. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. What's
throwing
this?
some shade.
See, we can't answer this one.
Dang, dude, all the questions are one book series that inspired Bloodwoven in some manner. I think the like tight POV of like Rage of Dragons by Eden Winters was a bit inspiring. I really like Tal's Journey. That one I had picked up because I was like, oh, this was like an independent author who got picked up traditionally. That's really cool. Let me give it a try. And it was really good. Unfortunately, the 3 that you listed are some of my inspirations.
I know.
I
That's
don't think
why I put them there.
I don't think I write anything like them. So that's the thing. John Gwynn, Shadow of the Gods. While Lynn's journey isn't as like close to his heart as I'm forgetting her name, the main female protagonist. The idea of like revenge and a quest to like regain a stolen child was like obviously kind of picked up from that, a little bit inspired, just because that was like a huge emotional arc. Dang, dude. Ooh, Willow Wraith Press coming out soon.
Y'all are being bad. Poor Dave. I mean, all right, let me stop sharing. Well, I mean, is there a question you want to ask us? I mean,
you can come up with whatever you want then.
What so how many books do you have planned for Tana? Like as a series whole? 3?
Three.
Planned 3 trilogy?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 3 pieces of the triad for the Elmstone, so
Yeah.
each book will
It
be.
sort of writes itself. Look at that. That's pretty. That's
And
good.
there's 3 scribes as the gods. That's
Yes.
And one of them has already sort of been introduced and handled, right? And by the end of the first one, a little bit, sort of spoilery. No.
A little bit. I
been
mean, yeah.
introduced.
Yeah. No.
I mean, it's a middle grade book. We didn't exactly.
You didn't. Yeah.
hide it.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you bury the lead too far, it's lost. Yeah.
Yeah, we hinted.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
for
No,
the
it
age
was
levels
very
that
well
we
done.
wrote.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've mentioned that during the power outage, it was Tana and Spricket the Bard were like my 2 reads, and the first volume of the Theft of Swords by Michael Sullivan, I think. Those are my reads during the power outage because without electronics, I had a lot of free time to read. So
yeah, you were out. Dewey, you were only out for power for like what, 2 days?
3 days.
3 days. Yeah, Greg, you were down
like
for a long time.
Like 6 or 7 days, and it was really annoying because all the area around us on the map had power, and like just our like street was down. I was like, this sucks, but that's okay. We made it through.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that because that was tough.
Okay. Yeah, we we made it work. I think by the 4th night, my wife was ready to kill me.
Yes, I would. So,
and he's in Texas, so he probably has the guns.
well, yeah,
he is a Texan, natural born.
I am a naturally raised Texan. My father was a Texan, and taught me how to shoot, skeet shooting on the weekends. I need to do that again. Yeah. So, well, it's been great talking to you, Greg, and is on the horizon. You've got 2 books coming out, like eventually in the series of the Binding Tenets trilogy. And any more short story plans or any other plans you'd like to talk about before we head on out?
So Bloodbound is slated to have the arcs go live in a week, probably. I think I said the 15th. And that's not with the full cover. But I did a poll, and it seems like most people are fine with getting, a finished interior with the exterior pending. So I'm going to send that out just to get those out in the world. I'm part of a anthology that the scribes are putting together. I've started on that story, and that story is going to take place in a world that I'm currently building and fleshing out, which will be a second series that, if everything goes well, it'll come out late 2025, early 2026. I just have to write it first.
About earlier, a separate series.
A separate series, yes, because in this one I've talked to Bill about it, not necessarily at length, but it's born from my love of Final Fantasy and The Legend of Zelda, so it pulls a bit of inspiration from both those things while putting my own like twist and flair on it. And I told Bill, I was like, look, when I read The God's Blood Tragedy, it gave me the confidence to know that like this can be done. You can like pay one homage and sort of take elements from a known entity and make it unique. Like even though the things have been done, the stories have been told, you can still put your own twist on it. And so it really gave me the confidence to know that like no, it will be like it can be unique. Because The God's Blood Tragedy was fantastic.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And it was very Final Fantasy inspired, specifically Final Fantasy 12.
Maybe that's why it felt unique to me. Maybe if I went back and played 12, I'd be like, oh, Bill. But and then I have another series, and that is the first book is written, but that one's a duology, and that's a bit further down the road because I got to take care of everything else on my plate first. And then Alex asked how much do I write in a week? It sort of depends, but My minimum a week is usually 5,000 words, which gets me like a chapter and a half, maybe
Pretty
two
good.
chapters depending. And that's my low bar. And then if I hit 2,000 words or so a day, which is my high end with everything, then yeah, I hit like 10 or 11, sometimes 12, but rarely does it hit that high, right? And then my favorite Zelda game, I grew up with all the classics. I had the NES. I played a Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo. Honestly, I think A Link to the Past might be my favorite because of nostalgia. It was just really good. The Minish Cap was actually really freaking fun too. It was pretty good. But I'm gonna say Ocarina of Time is my goat. It was so well done.
I think that's pretty much everybody's goat.
It has to. It sort of has to be.
Or 64 game.
Right.
That and the regular Mario is like the two best Nintendo 64 games. You can ask anybody, and that's like 90% of the vote right there.
Right. Don't get me, and not to get me wrong, like Breath of the Wild is like really cool and it does a lot of really interesting things. And I like having an updated Legend of Zelda game. But Ocarina is it's like really good storytelling. And yeah, exactly. I remember dying in the freaking just the opening forest, the Kokoriki forest, to the freaking the boars after the time jump, the guys that were guarding the temple of the woods, whatever temple was in there first. The charging moblins or whatever.
Yeah,
they killed me a lot.
Shoot the little the seeds or whatever, those little that pop up, those ones.
Yeah.
That was part of it. And the hands that would like jump down and like pull you and crush you in the temple, those things got me a lot as a kid. But anyways,
I just remember the first time you go to the Gruta Valley. Oh man, I just love that where you have to sneak past the guards. I don't know why I love that scene. Or that little scope. I don't know why I love that part.
Yeah, it did a lot of really cool things.
You get the
chain, it was just a good story.
The chain shooter, whatever it was called. Can't remember.
The hook shot.
Hook shot. That's right. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was just a fantastic game, especially for the time. And then Majora's Mask came out right after, and I liked it. It did a lot of really interesting things also.
I always really liked Majora's Mask. I thought that was a fun game. Once you figured out the 3-day countdown thing, how to deal with that, I thought it was a lot of fun. But it took a little while to get there to figure that part out.
Yeah, I thought the story was really interesting too, just because it was like, oh, the hero, is now going off and doing this other thing, and it's like, the implications behind that, because Nintendo had to put out that guide talking about the timeline and this and that,
right.
Which became like, I've watched so many videos about the freaking timeline, enough to know that I don't think any story I ever do will have time travel. It's not worth it, in my opinion.
No, same. So any last questions from the chat? Otherwise, we're going to let Greg go hang out with his wife and not do pickleball. Right. We already kept him from pickleball.
Yeah, I'm probably going to play tomorrow night instead. So we'll see. I mean, unless somebody wants to do an interview.
Don't tell Dave. He'll want to do another one.
He's like, scribe. Scribe assemble.
So, Greg, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody else, thank you for joining the chat. This was fun, especially when we got Dave finally in here and we can talk some smack to him. And hopefully you enjoyed this time. And if you haven't bought Bloodwoven, please go get Bloodwoven. It is a good book. And I read it before I joined the Secret Scribes. So, or like right as we were joining it. So it's not like, I had to like it because we're part of this group. Like I'm going to have to like Envoys of War. Joking. Just joking.
Damn.
But you guys have you all, not say you guys, you all have a good evening and go get Greg's book. Thank you for
Please.
joining us. Do the wave, everybody. Do the wave.
Do the wave. Look how fast it goes.